something to carry around that has our logo on it. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to St Augustine, Florida, and the Captain's Quarters podcast. Our 146th episode is about to unwind in front of you. Cheers to you. Our show is always sponsored by the Pirate and Treasure Museum of St Augustine, Florida. And how can you find us? Davey, we got to show everybody that QR code. Captain's Quarters podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Use that QR code. Find us, like us, follow us, subscribe to us, all three. It's a trifecta of information that you can get a part of. I prefer the like part, but it's more important to get the following and the subscribing. But I just feel good when people like me. So, ladies and gentlemen, QR code, and join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. for Captain's Quarters podcast. We always like to start our show a little bit on the somber side, but with 8 bells, sponsored by our friends at the Riker family of reenactors. They do Spanish, they do pirate, they do colonial, they do British. They do it all. They're very, very helpful and part of the great St. Augustine swashbucklers. Davey, how many bells do we have this week?
6 regular ones and 1 Fiddler's Green.
All right, very good. Thank you. And if for those of you that don't know, Fiddler's Green is one that we celebrate some of the people that are in our pirate community all around the world, not just in this area. So for now, let's see what we have. And of course, I need to put my glasses on. Robert Joseph Bannis, an American dancer and actor who worked in films such as West Side Story, Always, Down and Out in Beverly Hills, and a dance choreographer for the Shirley Ellis song, The Nitty Gritty, and performed with 5 other dancers on the Judy Garland show in '64. Drew him renowned attention on YouTube in the 2010s, where copies of it have been viewed by more than 25 million people by mid-2023. He was 90 years old. Pauline Atherton Cochran, an American librarian and one of the most highly cited authors in the field of library and information sciences. She is considered to have been leading research. She was considered to be a leading researcher in the campaign to redesign catalogs and indexes to provide improved online subject access in library and information services, as well as leading teacher and theorist in cataloging, indexing, and information access. She was 94. In other words, she was a librarian's librarian. Leonard Axel Engelman, an American makeup artist. He worked on films Cat People. I love that show. That movie, Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cops, Rocky IV, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and the television show Cagney and Lacey, and The Shield. He received a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2017 Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Guild Award. He was 83 years old. Joseph Hand Sr., an American businessman and media executive from Philadelphia. He was the chairman of Joe Hand Promotions, a promoter of pay-per-view and closed-circuit broadcasts of sporting events, which he founded in 1971. He was 87 years old. Joshua Gilmore Jr., better known as Joey Gilmore, an American electric blues and soul blues singer, songwriter, and guitarist. He shared the stage with James Brown, Etta James, Bobby Bland, Little Milton, and Little Johnny Taylor, among others. Gilmore's best-known tracks include Blues All Over You in 2015, and Gilmore was honored with a Latin World Talent Lifetime Achievement Award. He was 80 years old. Floyd Lane, an American Hall of Fame basketball player and coach. He was part of the historic 49-50 City College and New York Beavers men's basketball team, the only team to ever win both the NIT and the NCAA in the same season. Though later declared innocent, Lane was implicated in the point shaving scandal in '51 that ended the golden era of college basketball in New York City. He was 95 years old. And this one here, Kelly Farah. He was an Order of the Leviathan, long shot Murray, I had a chance to meet him several years back, and it was a joy to get to know him. I also being a member of the Order of Leviathan. He only lived for a short period of time, if you think about it. So there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Longshot Murray, on his way to Fiddler's Green. We'll see you then soon, my friend. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we raise our glass and give 8 bells. An honor to those that have passed, their fans, and their families. Thank you very much, Davey. Good job. Let's see. Let's bring it up from the somber mood and bring in Minnie Mayhem. Minnie Mayhem is going to do our Joke of the Week, sponsored by Salt City Comics. Salt City Comics is the man that does all of those great cartoon characters of Davey, Mandy Joe, and myself. So where is old Minnie Mayhem? Hanging in the wings, I'm sure. Bring him in.
Ahoy, mates! Minnie Mayhem here with Joke of the Week, sponsored by Salt City Comics. What is a buccaneer? Think about it, and I will give you the answer at the end of the show.
What is a buccaneer? I could give you 2 answers to that right away, but I'll wait till the end of the show where we always do our reveal with Minnie Mayhem back again from Salt City Comics. On that note, we always like to have Quote of the Week by Spyglass Travel. If you want a great walking tour of the oldest city in the nation, and we're getting ready to have our 459th birthday, believe it or not, a walking tour of the city where you get to learn history and exercise. How about that? That is Spyglass Travel, my friend Kevin over there. He'll give you a grand tour. For now, though, what is our Quote of the Week? The ignorance of one voter in democracy impairs the security of all. Whoa. Davey, did you know my captain's desk was going to have something to do with politics tonight?
No, sir.
Well, it sure is going to, for sure. And you hit the nail right there. Very good. The ignorance of one voter in democracy impairs all. Very good. I like that, Davey. Very, very good. Let's see. Oh, yes, a National Day of. Well, one of our National Day ofs does not make any sense to me, but let's see what it is. National Oyster Day on August 5th. Get slurping on August 5th with National Oyster Day. Oysters are enjoyed as seafood in many parts of the world. Yes, but here's the problem. Most of us that are oyster fans and fanatics know you're not supposed to eat oysters in any month that does not have an R in it. That would be May, June, July, and August. You're not supposed to eat oysters in those 4 months. Why? Because that's breeding season, and they're not good for you at that time. Now, there are some places now that are creating farm-fed and farm-raised oysters, but I've had those too. They're not as good. So this one baffled me when I first saw it. I don't get it. And September comes around, I'll be eating oysters. National Work Like a Dog Day. That should be my dog and me in that picture. August 5th, National Work Like a Dog Day urges us to charge forth and meet every challenge we face. However, if you look to your dog for direction, you may be confounded. If I look to my dog for direction, we'd be laying around the house all day. But I'm sure that's hard too. And this one's a funny one. National Underwear Day, August 5th. National Underwear Day provides an opportunity to wear your favorite undergarments. Boxers, briefs, panties, tighty-whities, no matter what you call them, our underthings provide a layer of comfort. And there you have it. Which actually, it was tough for me to come up with a really good question of the week because I couldn't decide if I wanted to go with oysters or underwear. Ancient City Sirens are the ones that promote or sponsor this segment of Quote of the Week. So I went the safe route. How do you like your oysters? That's the way I went. I prefer them raw with Tabasco sauce on a saltine. That is the way you eat an oyster. Mandy, do you eat oysters?
I'm not a huge fan of them. We got to have them fresh out in Ireland, and they just more rubbery, but they were also cooked. So maybe raw might be a little bit different. I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, when you cook them, they are. Leon's oysters are the best. Nightingale in Florida, you really should rephrase that. I see Bo just walked in. Likes the oysters when Leon cooks them. All right, we'll let you have that one. Very good. So Nightingale, I see Bo. I see Ransom Mayhem from Panama City Beach. I see Zachary Harker from Michigan. People will start signing in here as we go along. I don't like them cooked, although I've had them cooked. I've had them fried. I prefer them raw, right out of the shell. And come September, I always try to go and get me some right away because it's been a couple of months since I've had any. So, but the other question I probably would have had was underwear or commando. That was my second offer for a question. All right, we'll leave it alone at that there. Bo likes oyster fritters. Very good, very good. I'm surprised that Ransom Mayhem hasn't weighed in on it yet. I know he's an oyster eater too. Very good. This Week in Nautical History is next. I have had them steamed. Zachary, steaming them is really not too bad. When I was a teenager in Panama City, we used to go out and get fresh oysters right out of the water with some of my friends, and we build a little coal fire in the sand and put a grate over it and put the oysters right on top. As soon as they popped open, you had a mixture of garlic and butter, and you spooned some in, and then when that melted, then you slurped them down. And they were, as my dad used to say, make your tongue slap your brains out. That's how good they were. Very good. All right. So, how about This Week in Nautical History, Davey? Sponsored by Florida Water Tours. You ready with it? I'll tell you this. If you want a good tour of the city as a view from the water, the Matanzas Bay, you've got to go to Florida Water Tours and take one of their rides. We go there all the time. In fact, I'm getting ready to line up another run with the crew to go out and have a good time. On that note, please, Davey, This Week in Nautical History.
Welcome to This Week in Nautical History, sponsored by our friends at Florida Water Tours. Experience the Intercoastal Waterway at its finest, featuring picture-perfect attractions. We begin This Week in Nautical History in the year 1552, Battle of Ponza. Ottoman naval fleet led by Dragut defeats Genoa's fleet under Andrea Doria, capturing 7 galleys. 1573, Francis Drake's fleet returns to Plymouth after a year spent raiding for Spanish treasure. 1588, English set alight 8 fireships with pitch, brimstone, gunpowder, and tar, and cast them downward towards the closely anchored vessels of the Spanish Armada, scattering the Armada. 1628, Swedish warship Vasa sinks in Stockholm, killing 30. 1699, HMS Roebuck, captained by William Dampier, lands at Shark Bay, Western Australia, on the first British scientific expedition to Australia. 1775, first Spanish ship San Carlos enters San Francisco Bay. 1864, Battle of Mobile Bay, won by the Union Army, led by Rear Admiral David Farragut with the cry, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." U.S. Civil War. 1914, German U-15 was sunk by the British cruiser HMS Birmingham. 1942, British aircraft carrier HMS Eagle hit by 4 German torpedoes and sunk in the Mediterranean Sea 81 miles south of Mallorca. And finally, in 1983, supertanker Castillo de Bivar catches fire and sinks northwest of Cape Town, South Africa. And that was This Week in Nautical History.
Very good, Davey. Always like to see what you come up with for This Week in Nautical History. It's always a good thing. New adventures, ladies and gentlemen, past, present, and future. What I'd like to do is tell you about an event I went to this past Saturday night, put on by the Seawolf Privateers, the Pirates Plunder Game. They had Bounty Bunko, Pirate Bingo, Blackbeard's Blackjack, and Pirates of the Caribbean Monopoly. Both myself and my lovely better half, Miss Cece, we both went and we played Pirate Bingo and Blackbeard's Blackjack. I did pretty well on the Blackjack. There's us trying to take over everything. I did pretty well on the bingo, and in fact, won second place in the bingo tournament that night. So I embarrassed myself with the Blackjack. There's Janice and Ed. I think Janice needs a little bit more help with understanding what she needs to do with that sword. They did well. There's some of the other people that were hanging with us. There's Judy and Bill. And I don't know the couple that was there in the center. They may be Seawolf Privateers. I am not sure, but they were a lot of fun. And I believe the guy that's in the blue vest in the middle, he was at our blackjack table. Had a great time. As always, everything that the Seawolf Privateers do, they raise for their foster children program. And it's very important for them to keep busy and have support. So we hope to support them in many of their other events. We also have the t-shirt. No, I'm sorry. You're right, Davey. Thank you for keeping me straight. Spooktacular. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to update this poster. We're looking for at least 16 sponsors for Spooktacular. As of last night, I believe we have 11. I'm happy with that. And you'll notice that the cost of purchasing a scene purchase for the Spooktacular is only $200, but that ends today. And if you want to purchase now, it's $250. But I'm going to do something because I can, because I'm the captain. If anybody sees this poster or contacts me because they watch the podcast or know what we're doing and want to be a big supporter, I will extend the $200 for one more week just to see if we can get all 16 of our sponsors at the $200 level. But after this week, you have to pay a little bit more because you waited too long. I've given you ample time to be a part of our show. But as a scene sponsor, your logo goes on whatever scene it is we come up with that is appropriate for you. That means you'll be seen, and it's a lit sign that you can see. Your logo will also be on the welcoming poster at the beginning of the tour of the Spooktacular and the thank you poster at the end. You also will be given at least 4 children's tickets to give away and do whatever you want with in your name. And if you're really nice, I might add an extra ticket or 2 because we love having children come out. Ladies and gentlemen, last year we raised $4,400 in 9 hours, 3 hours a night. Our show is on the Spooktacular is only 3 nights, 25, 26, and 27, and it's $7 and $7. It's 7 o'clock till 10 at night. Where did I get that $7 from? So if you want to be a scene sponsor, we'd love to have you there. We have a few families that have actually sponsored, and we're going to put their name on it. They like what we do and they want to support us. So ladies and gentlemen, there it is. If you see this now, or you see this poster on Facebook, there's the Venmo and there's the PayPal. We do look forward to having you be a part of Spooktacular, our 3rd year at the Colonial Quarter and our 9th year doing this. So join us and be a part of what we do. Davey, the only other thing I think we have is the t-shirt poster. Very good. Go ahead and bring her in. If you want a t-shirt for our show, it's $26. You have to pre-order it. At the end of the month of August, we will order all the t-shirts that were ordered, and we are going to give a drink token coin to everybody that is part of our t-shirt deal. And a portion of the money that we raise goes to the Humane Society, ladies and gentlemen. We like to help them with their food bank. So that's always a good thing to do. So use those QR codes there to join us and put in the information that you are doing a t-shirt. It is the same QR codes for Spooktacular. So you're either doing a t-shirt or you're doing a sponsor scene, or you're just giving us some money because we're nice pirates. Either way, join us and be a part of what we're doing. Upon that note, it is my honor and privilege to introduce our guest. Now, her real name, well, we'll leave it alone because there, look at that. I have Marilyn Monroe with me tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this.
Crazy.
All right. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. me.
So I guess I should refer to you as Marilyn for the whole part.
Because it's not going to last much longer.
Yes,
that's why I
that's
keep telling
true.
people. Like,
That's
yeah,
true.
call me Marilyn.
So now we've been friends for, I don't know, maybe since before COVID, right?
Yes.
I think before COVID.
Yes.
We've been friends. So you are a professional. I like the way Davey put it in the show, in the promo that we did. How did you put that, Davey? A Marilyn Monroe professional. What did you use?
Professional tribute artist, probably. You got it from me.
Yeah, that might be it right there. There you
That's
go.
it.
We're going to flash some information on if you need Marilyn Monroe, and we all need Marilyn Monroe.
Absolutely.
All right, even pirates need Marilyn Monroe. But there's a .com down at the bottom of the screen that you can find out more about her. And we'll be flashing a couple of other things. And before we forget, let's go ahead and get this out of here. If you really want to book her for something and you don't go to her Comcast, there's a thing for entertainers called Gig Salad, GIG Salad, right?
Yeah.
.com. You should go on there. And the way I understand Gig Salad, I've looked at it. I just haven't been a part of it. The way I understand it, they have entertainers of all varieties and all calibers.
That's why they call it a salad, because it's full of everything. Of gigs, right? So just type in like Marilyn Monroe.
I really needed a blonde to explain that to me.
Well, blondes do have more fun.
That's what I see. Look at that size of that ring there.
See, I brought this just for you.
Wow, that is a ring and a half. My goodness.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Yeah, I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking about that right now. I do want to show you something to start off with,
I
though.
know what it is. I've heard it before.
I love it when guests come and bring gifts to us, because then we start to put them in the studio so you can see them. I tried to fix that flag up there so you could see it, but you can't see it very well. That flag has Colonel Allen West's signature on it. He's a great politician from the who used to be from the state of Florida, but now is from the state of Texas. But look at what was going to be adorning our podcast room now. Look at this.
I bought it special for you.
It is a skeleton Marilyn Monroe. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic?
That's how I'm going to look 10 years from now if I keep doing Marilyn.
Oh, come on. You got at least another 20 in it.
So
but
book me now. Book me now.
We'll leave it right there as long as it doesn't sit in anybody else's way. We'll leave it right there. It doesn't block either of us. So the most, pardon me, the most logical question, and I've got two to start with, all right?
Yes.
Let's start with the easier one of the two. How long have you been doing Marilyn Monroe?
Well, I was discovered. Actually, it wasn't even anything I ever thought of. I was discovered at my job in 1995. And it was for the stamp. They launched the Marilyn Monroe stamp June 1st, 1995. So it was like 3 months prior to that. A gentleman he was a postman, actually. He used to work, he came and got the mail from the company I worked for. And he used to always call me Norma Jean or Marilyn. And I had never heard that before because I had just moved here from Seattle, Washington. Yay, Seahawks! And I had always heard Madonna. Okay, that's all I ever heard. And so I come to Florida and suddenly everyone thinks I'm Marilyn Monroe. And I was like, I don't think I can pull it off. He's like, yes, you can do it. So he encouraged me. Make a long story short, I won that contest. And I was in all these papers. And then everything kind of spiraled. I then got in pageants. I had 2 titles, Mrs. Ormond Beach and Mrs. Volusia County. And then I got into radio. I did a radio show. And then I also got into doing a YouTube show where I met Eddie Money, who I worked for. And I met lots of people that way. Rick Derringer, Pat Travers, Ron Rice of Hawaiian Tropic. So I've kind of, one thing has led to the other is what I'm trying to say.
That's how it works in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
Something happens and it's very small. I'll throw myself under the bus with this. I started doing pirate just to do card tricks in the bar so I could make some money, because when we first moved back to St. Augustine, I wasn't making good money, but I was making good money doing card tricks. And that was in 2007. And here we are 17 years later, and look what I'm doing. So it always starts small. And if you're good at it, then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're very good at it. You're very recognizable. You have a good look as Marilyn Monroe, and that's important, right?
Yes, yeah. And it's hard. It costs a lot to look this cheap. And yes, I stole that from Kelly Parton, but she's okay with it.
Yes.
Just saying.
It's and you do something else, and we're going to find out as we're talking here. When it comes to impersonators, ladies and gentlemen, I am on both sides of the fence. Either if you're going to do an impersonation of somebody, Max, that's enough over there. You be quiet. If you're going to do an impersonation of somebody, you need to dive into it all the way, head first, neck deep, and have fun with it. You've done that. You know the history. You know the woman herself. You know everything about her. There are other people that do impersonations. They fall short on their costuming, or they might do well on their costuming, but when you talk to them, it completely blows it. You are Marilyn Monroe when you show up at events, correct?
Well, I try to be.
That's important.
I try to keep her alive because it has been 62 years now that she passed away yesterday. So I try to keep her alive, you know, her
according to what I found out, it's August 5th, which is today.
Well, it's kind of, I think on her death certificate is August 4th because it was like midnight type of thing. Like they found her at 2 a.m. or something, but they figure she died like 11 p.m. August 4th.
Well, that makes
so
sense.
it's kind of iffy.
It's kind of either or the other.
See, I know this because I've researched.
See, that's it. And that's important about doing the cause. So I don't even really have to ask you why Marilyn Monroe, because of the way you fell into it, the way you were, I want to say pushed into it, but that's not right because you were willing.
Yeah.
But the way you were drawn into it, I don't even have to ask you why.
It's like, who doesn't want to be Marilyn, right? I mean, I was flattered when he said, no, you look like Marilyn. And I actually didn't, my hair wasn't really that blonde then. But what I did is I did some research because I figured, you know, if I'm going to be in this contest, I'm going to be in it to win it, right?
Absolutely.
And so I delved in, I watched movies on her. I changed my makeup, changed my hair a little bit, make sure I have the mole on. Is that the right side? Anyway, so, you know, that's an important factor. And you know, did some working out because, you know, she had a pretty hourglass figure. So, you know, I had to, you know, it's a lot. It takes a village to put this together. I'm just saying.
Do you really think she committed suicide? That's the question that was just asked by one of our listeners.
A lot of people ask me that. And I have to tell you, I don't really think so. And the reason I say that is because she had films coming up that she was going to be in on. And, you know, people who commit suicide usually don't, you know, have signed deals. And also, I did find out that her niece has kind of, because, you know, all these conspiracy theories are always coming up every year. And her niece has come forward and said, look, it was an accidental overdose. And I have to kind of go with what the family says. I mean, you know,
that's honorable because one of the biggest conspiracy theories, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I tried to do some research, but being at the age I am, I don't remember Marilyn Monroe, but I do remember things when I was a little older and I watched some of the movies that she was in. But one of the biggest conspiracy theories is that she was killed because of government intervention, so to speak. That's the biggest one. You know, I'm not going to explain the whole thing, but names like JFK and Bobby Kennedy all come into play in there. So that's one of the biggest ones right there is that conspiracy theory. It's kind of like the same conspiracy theory about how JFK was assassinated. We may never ever know, and sometimes the conspiracy theories just really help keep the characters alive. Max, no.
Max likes Marilyn.
That's enough.
And by the way, I appreciate your work with Humane Society. I'm a big animal lover myself, and I do some things.
We do an awful lot with the Humane Society, an awful lot. So my apologies to those of you that know my dog is here, and once in a while he has an attitude. Max does have an attitude, and we have somebody sitting off screen right now doing some extra video recording, and I'm going to bring that person on. We've actually been friends with this other person for even longer than I've been friends with.
Should I let him
Marilyn.
out?
Huh?
Should I let him out?
No, if my wife is watching, she can come take him out, but I think he's just barking to be barking. I don't think he really wants to go anywhere. So we'll see. And maybe she will come around and hear the noise in a minute and do something about it. If not, I'll be messaging her from the computer to her bedroom and telling her to come out here and take care of my mutt. But he's just,
He likes Marilyn. All the dogs like Marilyn, okay?
Well, that's
all
true.
the dogs like Marilyn.
Two-legged and four-legged, right? Yes.
Bring him up on stage.
So
Get up.
what do we got here? Keeping you informed nationally and about. There's Marilyn Monroe right there.
Yeah, that's a thing I did a few years back. The white dress, of course, which is very famous. I almost wore it tonight, and now I wish I had because I'm having all these wardrobe malfunctions.
So have you seen the Snickers commercial with
What?
what's the actor's name? The actor that played in one of the very first Spider-Man movies, and is the bad guy, the Green Goblin. I can't think of his name. He's a very famous actor. Davey, while I'm muddling about here, if you figure out his name, let me know. But they do a Snickers commercial. Remember the Snickers commercials where somebody is really like in a bad mood and ugly and and they hand him a Snickers commercial? It's him, but they show Marilyn Monroe doing the whole thing, and they show him in the Marilyn Monroe dress doing the whole thing until they hand him a Snickers bar.
I
And then
remember
he's
that.
happy.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's a hilarious. The two that I think are the most funniest are that one and the one with Betty White playing football with
That's
the
the
kids
best
in the
one.
mall. That's the best one because I'm a huge Betty White fan. So
And
William Dafoe.
one day Marilyn will be Betty White instead of Marilyn.
That's true.
In about
There's a word for that.
about 4 to 5 years.
Hey, what's it called?
It's called hangry.
Hangry. That's it.
That's what it is.
My brother, Ransom Mayhem, over in Panama City, he told me William Dafoe. Very good. Thank you very much for. I seem to have a problem with my memory. It must be because of my age. So.
Now, did you want me to answer your question? We got distracted by
Yeah, I
the
know.
JFK thing.
That's the nice thing about this show. We get
That
distracted
live
and we have
stuff,
some fun. So which question did you not answer?
About if I think JFK was behind it.
Yes, do you think so?
Well, I mean, like I said, I trust what the family says. However, there are a lot of suspicions because guess what else? Well, she knew a lot, and they had been there apparently earlier that day. And guess what's missing? Her red diary that told all. Never to be found to this day. So I'm just saying.
I believe when it comes to conspiracy theories and Marilyn Monroe, I truly, honestly believe that they did something. That's what I believe. I will give the family member that told you otherwise, I will give them this. It is always better sometimes when the family steps out and speaks out. And then it's just best for us to respect their wishes because they're trying to put away some of the ugly side of it. And I would give her that. That might be true also. But knowing what I know about the government and some of my past experiences, I believe that, and it was a lot easier to get away with things. Nowadays, you could not get away with any of that because of social media and Facebook and everything else.
Right.
And the fact that there's a camera everywhere. You can't get away with hardly anything anymore. But back in 1962, right? 1962, It would have been easy to get away with that. But I believe the conspiracy of all of that is one of the things that makes Marilyn Monroe still known today and popular today.
Exactly.
I think it's very important. Which there's the other question that was in my head. We've come full circle around. One of the things that Marilyn Monroe is most famous for is singing "Happy Birthday" to the president. So my question is this: have you been asked to do that for anybody?
Oh,
constantly, right?
Several times.
Yes, right.
That's one of the biggest requests.
Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah. See that, and it's fun though, right?
Yeah, it is.
And do you do it as good as she does?
Well,
I put you on the spot.
I couldn't carry a tune if it had handles, and I'm the first to tell you that. However, with that whispery voice, you can kind of pull it off.
Well, let me give you. Here's a piece of advice on singing. Okay. I've never sang in public in my life, other than a few times back in the day. I would sing karaoke, but I had to be drunk. That made it easier for me to sing. When I came here and started doing pirating and started singing sea shanties with other pirates together, I found out something about people. They don't care if a pirate can sing. They just want a pirate to sing.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter how bad you are. And so I sing and I enjoy it. And I have friends that are musicians in the pirate world, like Mark Miller and Rusty Cutlass and Cole Miller here in Tucson, here in St. Augustine. And I've sang with them, and they do tell me, you really do have a good voice. And I just say, as long as you guys are singing with me and can mask it, we're fine. So really, in our characters, singing or whatever else we do, we don't necessarily have to do it well in our own opinion. We just have to do it well enough that the people that want us are happy with us. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, definitely.
It is very important as an entertainer. It's just the way I look at things.
Well, another thing I do too is when I'm forced to sing, shall I say, I will tell people, I'll say after I do like happy birthday, and I'll go, everyone join in, and then that way they drown me out.
That's
there's a method
smart.
to my madness.
That's a smart one. I like that. That's very good.
And they join in and they drown me out. Everyone's happy.
So now you're based in Daytona now?
Ormond Beach.
Ormond Beach. Okay.
Ormond Beach, Florida.
Ormond Beach.
Yes, we don't call it Daytona. but I've been on the cover of lots of these magazines. I'm sorry, that's the last one I had that I assigned for somebody. That's my old Jag. Now I have an Aston Martin.
Do you really?
Thanks to be in Maryland.
Oh,
Yes.
Must pay well.
It does.
In some ways.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
So since it's fun, tell me what is your most, and you probably have many, but I do this with all the guests, especially the entertainers that come on the show. What is one of your most memorable? All of us as entertainers have memorable things that stick in our head. So what's one of your most memorable?
Well,
If you have two, that's fine. And I'm not asking you, Max.
there actually is two. The first one was, I had just started doing Maryland. See, like, as I mentioned, like, I had to really research her. I wasn't a Maryland fan, unlike now, obviously. And I went out to win this contest. I went to a thrift store to find a halter dress because I couldn't find that white dress. I mean, that stuff's hard to find. But anyway, so after I was all in these newspapers and stuff, I got a call from John Rice's assistant that he was the creator of Hawaiian Tropic suntan oil. And most people know him. He was a great guy. And so they had me actually perform for his 60th birthday on the discotheque. So I was able to jump out from behind, and he was sitting there in a chair, and I was able to sing happy birthday to him. And of course, I had everyone sing too. So that was a really good one.
Stop it.
And then just most recently, the grand opening of Buc-ee's, I was hired to be there as Maryland, and I met our governor, Ron DeSantis.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
At which Buc-ee's? The one down towards Daytona?
And
Yeah,
it was
very
like 2
cool.
years ago.
Did they make you stand around some kind of a sports car too?
That would be my car.
No.
But no. But actually, they always, when I have the white dress on, people always want me to stand over a grate so that the dress blows up in the wind and stuff. In fact, I have a really good picture of me with Governor DeSantis, and sadly the top of his head's cut off, and I'm like behind him, and I said, behind every good man is a Maryland pushing him to be better. That's what I put, because I didn't want to get political stuff, but it was really fun.
So what was he like? I have yet to meet him yet.
Well, he's very handsome,
Smells like $1 million.
and he's very smart, obviously.
He met me too. Yes.
I was with her.
Yes. I haven't met him. I'd like to.
I was her photographer, video doing what I'm doing right now.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what would be really cool is to have him sitting right there on that bench and be in my show. That would be really cool.
I
All right,
would really
I'm
like
good
that.
for now.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
He's an awesome.
happily married with
He's
3
an
kids.
awesome.
Yeah.
human.
I have a lot of respect for him, and we try not to be very political in the show, as everybody well knows. But there are some political leaders that I would enjoy having a sit down on this show.
It
Right,
was
enough
a
of
great
that.
moment. It was a
From
great
the
moment.
back side over here, can I just say, I've met President Bush, President Clinton, and Ron DeSantis, and they all had the same flippin' cologne. They smell like a president. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's really strange.
It's
And
probably called El Presidente.
I don't know what it's called, but I tell you what, when I was with Marilyn here and we were at the Ron DeSantis thing, I asked him, "What cologne are you wearing?" And he wouldn't even say anything. But I tell you what, he smelled like $1 million.
If any of you are confused by the disembodied voice off the side there, that's a good friend of mine named John Downey, and he's going to sit in on the show in just a few minutes because we're going to talk about something that he's doing that actually includes Marilyn Monroe, but we can't talk about it very much. So it's going to be very, very scripted for now. So as preparing for this show tonight, one of the things I did was I went and found a few Marilyn Monroe things online. And I thought this would be a good way for me to ask you more questions to make sure that I'm here in the know.
Okay.
So now I happen to know one of the answers, but I'm going to ask you. Marilyn Monroe was married how many times?
3.
3. One of her husbands was Joe DiMaggio, who may have been her most favorite of all, because I read something that said that she wanted to remarry him. Is that true?
Well, I think so, yes. And he also put a rose on her grave every single day until he died.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was terribly, terribly, terribly in love with her. And Marilyn and Joe DiMaggio, for those of you who don't know, Joe DiMaggio was a major baseball player. He was the man. So who were the other 2? I have it here, but I'm going to see if you know. You can read it though. So
James Doherty.
and Arthur Miller.
And also it says her death date was August 4th. See,
It does.
varies.
It does
It varies.
say. One of the other of these sites I have says August 5th, but right here it says August 4th. You're absolutely right. So Arthur Miller was a movie producer?
Yes.
And James Doherty was what? I don't know what he was.
She married him basically when she was like 17, 18, just to get out of the house. You know, sadly, her mother had mental illness, as most people. She had a very troubled childhood. And so she married this gentleman just to get out of the house, basically. And then he went off to war, and she got a job in a factory working with airplane parachute type things, and got discovered. A photographer came in, took a picture of her, and the rest is history.
Well, those are her 3 marriages, and James Doherty was 42 to 46. Matt DiMaggio was 54 to 55, and Arthur Miller was her last one, 56 to 61. She was married to him longer than any of the others.
Yeah.
Wow, very good. So,
I did want to tell you something.
Go ahead.
That I'm going to be in a music video.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about that pre-show.
Yes.
You're going to be in a music video.
Nikoloff, the band Nikoloff, based out of Daytona. They're filming a video this Sunday in Maitland. So I'm going to be in the video. So see, looking like Marilyn has a lot of benefits other than just doing like private parties and stuff. I get, picked to do stuff like this.
As sometimes just part of the background.
Never. Marilyn was not a wallflower, okay? I'm just saying.
She'll never be the background, let me say that.
Sometimes I want to be back in a corner in the smoky room, but
It's all about
that's me with
Marilyn.
Hulk Hogan. I didn't even know I said that. I said that to him.
The Hulkster.
Search me. That's Hulk Hogan. See, I meet all these people, and they all see me, and that's Tom Arnold.
Yep, very good. Max, I'm going to break character for a minute. Kara!
And while we do that, we'll just put up some other things.
Put up a few other things. There you go.
And Lisa can explain them.
On our cover every now and then. That's when I was filming the Housewives of Orlando show.
Ooh.
That was a lot of fun, but it didn't get off the ground.
A lot of shows don't. Kara, where are his lips?
Do we have a cap cut?
Did you just yell my name like really loud?
I did, because I've been trying to message you and have you help me
You
take
were
care of
right
this
here.
problem while I'm on show.
That's the same dress I'm wearing right now. I can't believe I can still fit into it. As you can see, I'm still having the same problems with the black thing. I think, actually, to tell you the truth, I think she wore it like this. And I might as well just do it because it makes life much easier.
There you go. Very
But
good.
it's really fun, it's,
Come here.
there's worse things that could happen, I was working with this one lookalike once, and she looked like somebody that nobody wants to look like. I'm not going to say who it was. And I was just like, geez, I guess I should be honored that people think I look like Marilyn, because she was known as one of the most beautiful women in the world.
She was, I saw a title here that they gave her that she was, let's see if I can find it again she was, Marilyn Monroe is an American actress and model known for playing comic blonde bombshell characters. Comic. She really was a humorist. She became one of the most popular sex symbols of the 50s and the 60s, as well as an emblem of the era's sexual revolution and the power of women. Yo, Captain, can I ask you a question? Go ahead, ex-coasters. Ask away. That makes me nervous when somebody wants to do that. Go ahead and ask away. Anyway.
Yes, I'm single and available. Yes, I am.
As we prepare for whatever question is about to pop up.
However, I think I told you I was married up here in St. Augustine.
You were married in St. Augustine.
1997.
And now no longer married, right?
Right. So I am single and available, but that just shows how I ended up evolving into pageants after kind of being discovered as Marilyn, as you can see. Everybody loves that Marilyn look, you know. And actually, to tell you the truth, I could have been a Playboy. I know, brace yourself.
Oh my!
I could, yeah. At the time, they were looking for that look, and guess who got the gig? Because the man I married didn't want me to do it. But it was Anna Nicole Smith, who, by the way, I've often been mistaken for.
Also, very good. What if I said I met you at St. Augustine in a field trip? Well, then I would be honored that you came to my field trip and enjoyed. And I look forward to finding out more about who it is, because I meet so many people doing field trips.
I thought he was talking about me.
I know they're talking about me now.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I was like, okay, well, I do like St. Augustine.
Galileo, that's part of a good hint. I think I'll recall that in a few minutes, just to be sure. So I've got some other things here. Let's do this. Let's do Marilyn Monroe quiz.
Oh, goodness.
So we'll see if you, and the screen is here, so you can cheat if you want. Where was Marilyn Monroe born?
Los Angeles.
All right, very good. We know that one. Let's see if that's right. It is correct. Very good. Next question. And if you know, I'm going to give you a chance. We'll hold off and we won't answer them right away.
Okay.
Let's see if any of our listeners will. When was Marilyn Monroe born? Well, I think we already talked about that, didn't we?
Do you want me to answer? Or are you waiting for?
Let's do that one and get it out of the way. 26, right?
June 1st.
June 1st, 1926.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's her birthday.
Now she was in some really great movies with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. Those are just two that pop into my head. Let's see. How old are you? Who are you asking? Me or Marilyn? Let's go to the next question here. Let's see. Where's the next question? Oh, we got to hit that first. We're right. What is Marilyn Monroe's signature? That's a visual one. I guess
that's an easy one.
That's an easy one. Is
the
it
big
this one?
M's. The big M's.
The big M's. Yep, the big M's. Oh, you know what? There was something else I saw. She's Marilyn Monroe because her real name is what?
Leesa Marie Benz.
No.
Oh. Oh, Norma Jean.
Norma Jean.
Actually, it was actually Mortensen at one time too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Now she picked Monroe because that was her grandmother.
Her mother's maiden name.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So
he's asking you how old you are, Captain Mayhem.
Mayhem is 65 years old. Unless you talk about my Mayhem character, then I'm about 366. I'm quite old. All right. Let's see. What significant event is related to Marilyn Monroe?
Singing for a happy birthday to
No, this
JFK.
is the death of all of these people here. Don't know this one, do you? I don't. Death of Michael Jackson, death of what significant event is related to Marilyn Monroe? Death of Michael Jackson, death of Marilyn Monroe, which would be obvious, death of Brian Wells, or death of Aristotle's Guamas?
I have no idea. I would have to say death of Marilyn Monroe.
I'm going to say that one.
That's kind of a silly question.
That is a silly question. That was the answer, too. Duh. Let's see.
You know, they're thinking that if we're blonde, we're dumb, but we aren't.
All right. Which of the following images, another visual one, features Marilyn Monroe? It is that one right there, right?
Yes.
Yep. Boy, I was hoping
with
so.
her bodaciousness.
Yeah, I was hoping to get some that would, you could see. What is the first name that Marilyn Monroe was given at birth? Oh, we just talked about
Norma
that.
Jean.
Norma Jean Mortensen, right?
Yep.
Very good. Things that you want to know.
Yes. Never a dull moment.
What award did Marilyn Monroe receive in 1958 for The Prince and the Showgirl?
The Golden Globe Award.
For Best Actress or just straight?
I think it was for Best Actress. I hope that was it.
Nope.
Oh,
What was that? Go back up.
it was the first one.
It was the first one. The
Golden Globe Award.
No, the Targa de Oro Award.
I've never heard of that.
Me neither.
They're Googling and testing you.
What's that?
They're Googling and testing you.
Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens.
Well, I can tell you one thing that's for sure is that when she was on the set of these films, she was always very late.
Yes.
Like 3 hours late.
Hey, and as I tell people in my tours at the museum, nobody wants to go on a 3-hour tour.
And I can attest to her being late all the time because she's one of my best friends.
All right. And you know why nobody wants to go on a 3-hour tour? Because you'll be stuck on an island with Marianne and Ginger for life.
Hey, what's wrong with Ginger?
I actually
I love Ginger.
preferred Marianne. If you're going to have a conversation about it,
Me too.
where did Marilyn Monroe die?
Hollywood. Well, actually, Brentwood was
Brentwood,
our house.
right? Yeah,
Brentwood.
Brentwood.
And there's a story about that. Would you like me to tell you?
Yes, let's go. That's what these questions are for.
Well,
to promote.
her house, the actual house that she was found dead in just recently was purchased. And the couple that bought it wanted to bulldoze it down. Can you imagine? Well, the city of Los Angeles said, oh, no, no, no. And they put a ban on it. So they could not, because they call it now a historical
Right.
site type of thing. But what they did do, this new couple, is she had a swimming pool and they filled it up with dirt.
Really? What
They're
a waste
trying
of
to
a swimming
change.
pool.
I don't know. I
Uh,
guess they're going to put flowers in it or something. But if you can Google this and see all this. But I was just like, why not keep it? I would make it a museum, like Elvis, like Graceland,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Everybody loves Marilyn.
So you have a music video that you're working on this weekend coming up, right?
Sunday.
What other projects you got in the works? You made mention of that you did the Housewives of
Orlando.
and it didn't really go anywhere.
Well, it was supposed to. We had good intentions.
Did they tape many shows?
Yeah. And I had to drive back and forth.
And it didn't get picked up, did it?
Well, it was supposed to, like
Yeah.
I said.
Well,
I mean, it was promised to. I mean, that's the reason I agreed to do it. And I wasted a lot of gas and time. But anyway, but I got a good fashion show out of it. And I met a lot of good friends and everything. But anyway, I am also good friends with, through my YouTube show, I got to be friends with one of the founders of Foghat, Tony Stevens.
oh yeah, yeah.
And would you believe the song Slow Ride is going to be 50 years old in December of 2025. So we are working on a remake of that. The Slow Ride.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
That'll be
And
wonderful.
of course, we're going to use my car, the Aston Martin, because it's British, and they're from England. That's where Tony lives right now, as a matter of fact. And we're probably going to use the band shell in Daytona. And hopefully I'm going to use the Nickelhoff band to do it. And maybe even throw in a fun twist of somebody, bringing it more current, shall we say.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So I got some fun things.
Might have to
In the
go down
mix.
there and take over with some pirates behind me and take over.
Yes, that would be fun.
It would be fun.
Definitely.
Everybody wants pirates around if you
Yes.
think about it. Right. But that's a perfect example right there. You did the Housewives of Orlando. You spent a lot of time working on it. It went absolutely nowhere.
Don't remind me.
But the reminder is this. It brought in other things for you. You probably wouldn't have met the guy from Foghat if it wasn't for that, would you?
Well, actually, yeah, I met him when I was doing my YouTube
Oh, okay.
show.
All right.
But that's but I did meet a lady, a designer lady through that I've been doing her fashion shows now with.
So
So something has.
everything we do propagates more things. And if it's not successful here, the other things, it's like a big spider web.
Yes,
Um,
you're right.
It's the exact opposite of people that will call me up. Now I'm 65 years old, as I said already here. And at 65 years old and having been doing entertainment since I was 16, I still have people that will ask to hire me and tell me that it's good for my exposure.
For free.
I don't need any more exposure. I really don't. Exposure doesn't.
You're exposed out.
I'm exposed out. So I'm sure you get that though, and you have to make decisions. Some events you will make a decision for and say, yeah, I can do that one for nothing or whatever.
Well, what I do is I do a lot of things for charity, which my big thing is Halifax Humane Society. I will go to a lot of biker events in Daytona, for example, and I will pose for pictures, usually for $5-10. He's witnessed this, and all that money will go to Halifax Humane Society, and all these people get these pictures right on their phone, so they're happy, and that's my passion is pets and everything. So
and there are people that she has kissed with her big thick lipstick, who have made tattoos out of it.
Yeah, there you go. Myself and the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, we support Alias Acres and the Humane Society. Alias Acres is a no-kill animal shelter, and so we do a lot of work for both of them. So animals are very important. The other charities we do things for are children.
Oh yes.
We do children's charities and pets that are fur babies, so we take care of them too.
Don't shop, adopt is what I say.
Oh, that's a good one.
And somebody asked on there how they can see the music video. We haven't done it yet. I'm actually doing 2. I'll be doing one this Sunday, and I'm guessing it'll take probably a month. But I'm sure it'll be on Facebook under John Nikoloff or Nikoloff.com. And the one with Foghat, I'm not sure yet where that'll go, but I can let you know.
So when the music video, somebody did ask when the music video is done and in the can, do you know when people will be able to see it and how they'll be able to see it?
Not quite yet. I don't know.
So what you should do is make sure that we know so we can tell people.
Yeah.
And we'll further promote you down the line.
Okay, that sounds good.
Let us know and do that. That's very good. Let's see if there's another question that prompts another one of our. What nation is Marilyn Monroe a citizen of?
United States of America, of course.
What a dumb
Of
question
course.
that is. Wow, that is a dumb
Jeez.
one.
I mean, she liked JFK. Well, that was just a rumor.
So what is Marilyn Monroe's hair color?
Just like mine, blonde.
Is it blonde hair?
No, actually, she had light brown hair.
Light
Does
brown
the
hair?
carpet match?
Just like me.
Hey.
Does the carpet match the drapes? Is what they're asking.
What is Marilyn Monroe's eye color?
Blue, just like mine.
There you go. Look at that. We got that one right. Which of the following is Marilyn Monroe's record label? Do you know that one?
Record label.
Yeah, she had a record
I
label. She
would-
did do some music.
I guess I would guess RCA. But really, she can't carry a tune without.
It was
magazine.
RCA.
Okay,
It was
good.
RCA. Very good. What instrument does Marilyn Monroe play?
I remember her playing.
Does she play guitar?
What was a little ukulele? Unless it
That
was.
was a voice. That
Okay.
was voice.
Okay.
And who is
Skin
Marilyn Monroe had romantic relationships with?
Well, of course, the president,
Yeah,
JFK.
President of the United States.
She don't play around.
No, she goes right to the top.
See, I need to do that. I need to learn from her.
Yeah.
Just go straight to the top.
Well, you had a chance with DeSantis.
The skin flute.
But he's married with, and I don't mess with
Wait,
her
so
anymore.
is JFK.
Yeah, but back then, I don't think people had as good as morals.
Well,
as they have
no,
now.
that's not it. What did I say earlier? Social media, you can't get away with anything nowadays.
Right.
It was much more easier to get away with things like that without social media around. So let's see if I saw something here when I was doing this. Let's see. 6 things you probably don't know about Marilyn Monroe. Let's see if we covered
And
any
no,
of
she
it.
did not have a 6th toe. People say that it's probably
Really?
in there. They said that she had a 6th toe. But no, she was absolutely perfect.
So here's something about. Let's see if you know this or not. Marilyn Monroe's signature breathy speaking voice was an actual tactic that she used to overcome a childhood stutter. Ever heard that one?
No.
Never heard that one.
No.
Does he whisper like Biden?
Monroe was supposed to play Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's. Is that true?
I haven't heard that one either.
I haven't heard that one either. The nude crystal covered gown Monroe wore to sing happy birthday to JFK in 62 was so tight, she had to be sewn into the dress.
That is true.
That I have
And
heard.
by the way, I meant to tell you that I was part of that. You remember they sold it to Ripley's.
Yeah.
You know, here you have it. It's probably here in St. Augustine right
It
now.
might be. It might
But
be.
I was in a contest in Orlando, and myself and another lady, we were chosen to represent that gown. And would you believe they had that whole gown before Kardashian got a hold of it? I'm just saying. This is a few years back. It had sensors on it so that if somebody actually stole it, it could be tracked.
Wow.
Because, you know, they sold it for like $5.6 million to Ripley's.
And speaking of Kardashians, I can say I'm one of the very few that has never watched one episode of them and never will. On that note, speaking of auditions, a number of celebrities have purchased Monroe's mementos. Mariah Carey, Tommy Hilfiger, Demi Moore, Kim Kardashian wearing Monroe's infamous Happy Birthday, Mr. President gown. And even the piece was actually on loan from Ripley's, believe it or not, for a while.
I'm surprised you haven't had it here in St. Augustine.
I don't think it's been in St. Augustine, but we can find out. We can always find out. Though Marilyn Monroe appeared on the very first edition of Playboy in 53, the magazine's silk robe wearing founder never met her. That's an interesting point.
You know, I think that I'm trying to think if that's true or not.
So Hugh Hefner never met his very first playmate.
But do you know that he has his crypt above hers in the burial?
You know what? I have heard that one.
Because he loved her so much. He wanted to be on top of Marilyn. Who doesn't want to be on top of Marilyn?
That's appropriate.
How about this one? And this one's an interesting one. Marilyn Monroe passed away en route to the hospital, not at her home.
Yes, that's true.
It is that true.
Yes.
So that might be why there's a discrepancy between August 4th and August 5th.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
might be the reason for the discrepancy.
Yep.
Wow. Very cool. Well, that's 6 things that I didn't know entirely, and 1 or 2 that you will question. That's fine. So, hey, it's hard to say. If there's anybody out there watching us that wants to ask a question, by all means, don't be silent. Ask a question of Marilyn Monroe while I put this website away and see if we have. I don't want to go back to that one. Let's go to this one here.
I pushed
So-
the button. Can you fix it back? Are we good?
So here are the movies she did. Some Like It Hot, 1959. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, 1953. The 7-Year Itch, 1955.
Yeah.
The Misfits, 1961. The Prince and the Showgirl, 1957. And Niagara, 1953. Are those the only 6 movies she did?
There, I believe there was a black and white
Wait a
one
minute, there's-
earlier.
Yeah, let's see. Hold on, we can hit this. And oh wait, How to Marry a Millionaire, River of No Return, The Asphalt Jungle, Bus Stop, All About Eve. Wow, she did a lot of movies.
And she was always late.
She did.
She could not be on time for nothing. It's
So
kind of
let's see.
funny.
The earliest one, 53, 50, 50. And the oldest one was 61. So in 11 years, she did 11 movies. She obviously didn't do this one, The Mystery of Marilyn Monroe, 2022. So she did 11 movies in 11 years.
You know, she was actually filming The Misfits in 61 when she passed away.
Right. Yep. There's a whole lot. She's an icon, kind of like Elvis Presley's an icon. And there are not lots and lots of icons that have reached this. Some say that Elvis Presley is more famous now than he was before he died. You think that's the same thing with Marilyn Monroe?
I think it's because they died young. You know, I really think there's that factor that they die when they're still in their hiatus type of thing. Even though Elvis was kind of getting a little bloated,
yeah.
wasn't he, a little bit?
Yeah.
Marilyn still was beautiful when she died. And so that's how you remember her.
Right. Who discovered Marilyn Monroe's body? That's a very good
Gladys.
question.
Gladys, her
Her good
maid.
Yeah.
The maid. And what Gladys did was she actually, Marilyn had locked the door, apparently, when she took the pills, allegedly, let's just say that. And so Gladys couldn't get in. And so she ran across to the window and peeked in and could see that Marilyn's body was lifeless, and called the doctor to come over. And they got in the room, and the rest is history.
So thinking of icons, I can think of two off the top of my head that are also icons. They have not ever made it to the stardom but they live in the same era as Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. And one would be Jimmy Dean, James Dean, and the other would be James Darren.
I don't even know who James Darren is.
James Darren was he was famous for he was a singer. His most famous song was "Mac the Knife." Yeah, look it up. Yeah, James Darren. Those are icons that are still even now popular today. Although Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe are probably the most popular ones of all. I can't think of anybody else that would top that chart at all. I really can't. So you picked the right choice, because I don't think you'd make a very good Elvis Presley.
Well, you know, it's funny because, to be honest with you, you know who I think was absolutely the most beautiful woman in the world was Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes.
I would rather look like Elizabeth, frankly, myself, but it ain't going to work with my bone structure. And she died like in her 70s. So, you know, it's like if she had died younger, she would probably be getting close to the Marilyn Monroe iconic.
So
Yes.
here's what I believe. Now, Elvis Presley kind of falls outside of what I'm about to say. Marilyn Monroe falls inside of it. As you said earlier, in the first part of this part of the conversation, these people have reached this stardom and they die gorgeous or beautiful, right? I think there's something else more to it. They've died without making any huge major faux pas in life.
That's a good point too.
The Elizabeth Taylor, although was gorgeous and beautiful, she had 7 husbands, and she had lots of controversy in her life, and so she lives to be 70. So we know her entire life, and the last years of her life were not as lovely and wonderful as when she was younger. Whereas Marilyn Monroe didn't have a chance to have us look at any negative side of her life. We just saw her. Basically, she's famous for 12, 13 years. That's it. And we get to see every part of her life in that famousness. And she has no opportunity to step outside of that and create any negativity about her life or her family. Other than the fact that the conspiracy theories come in and you know, say, hey, you were with married men. Oh, well.
And she was only 36 when she died.
That's true. She was only 36 years
so
old.
Young, you know.
And by today's standards, even younger. So she's a wonderful icon. I happen to be a big fan of some of the people that she was in movies with. That's why some of the reasons I always have been a huge Tony Curtis fan. So, you know, she was in the movies with Tony Curtis. And the funny thing about the movies, I see if I can get my cursor back.
Remember, only the good die young.
Only the good die young. So the best part about Some Like It Hot, and this is one of those movies, pre-show we were talking a little bit about woke culture. Some Like It Hot would be one of those movies that might not be produced today because, well,
right,
the guys were dressed as women.
Right.
You know, so those are some of the things that there's a lot of movies that were produced in the time frame of our childhood, because we're about the same age. I'm a little older than you. But there are movies that were produced in our childhood that would never become movies today. Never.
Because people would be offended.
Yes.
Offended.
And that's just the worst part. And as we tell people, if you're offended, change the channel.
You know, even the Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which I'm wearing the dress of, people might be offended because she played a dumb blonde. You know, people might be, oh my gosh, I'm blonde. They're acting like I'm dumb. Because, you know, people are so touchy these days.
They are. So you have the dress from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Do you have any of the other outfits from any of the other ones?
I have the white one.
You have the white one, which is 7-year itch.
And I have something similar to that purple, well, the Niagara one, yeah.
Niagara,
in purple
and
and
then
the
the,
white, yeah.
the asphalt jungle.
I was going to buy the one from bus stop, but guess what? I sent him money, and guess what? He never sent me the dress.
Oh, we'll have to tell.
Hate
It
when that
wasn't
happens.
James Darren who did Mac the Knife. It was Bobby Darren. Oh, you're absolutely right. It was Bobby Darren.
And somebody asked about Michael Jackson. Somebody said, "What about?" And you know what? I love.
Don't
there it
forget
is.
Michael Jackson.
I have the same birthday as Michael Jackson. August 29th is coming up. And I have the same moves too. I'm just saying. I
Well,
love
you're right, Michael Jackson. I like it when my audience and our followers can correct me. That keeps me honest.
Keeps you on your toes.
You're right. It was Bobby Darren. Dang.
I still can't believe I don't know who he was. Bobby Darren.
Well, now you're going to go look him up.
I will.
You will for sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've had such a great conversation and a lot of fun. And as you know, we like to do everything improv. But I want to bring in one other person here real quick. My good friend John Downey has been sitting here. He's good friends with Leesa.
Marilyn.
And we're going to talk with him real quick for just a minute. But there's only so much we can talk about. Now, I've been friends with John since about 2008 or 2009, maybe.
Just counting. I think it's been about 18 years.
Yeah, give or take. And he wrote a book, and we did something for him. And there's the book right there, Last of the Big Three Caddies. This is a book, a history book of he was a Hall of Fame caddy. Obviously, the golf world has a Hall of Fame for the caddies also. And this is Alfred Rabbit Dyer. Dyer, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Dyer.
Dyer. So the book is all about his life as a caddy. That's him in the background there. Who is the one
That's Gary Player.
Gary Player.
Yeah.
So we can't talk about a whole lot, but there's a very good possibility that this book is going to go to celluloid. We'll just put it that way,
Yes,
and see if anybody thinks about what it is.
yes, you can, and it's in that mode right now.
You're in negotiation.
Yes, we're in negotiations, and I'm very excited about that. And
guess who might be in it?
and get the reason why
Me. Oh no, you. Yes, you.
Well, perhaps you might get a part now too.
You never know.
Rabbit, his final years were in St. Augustine, and he was just a wonderful, wonderful man. And I met him in 1972, and the whole reason why we even became friends was because I told him that I met him at a golf tournament, and I got his autograph when I was 12 years old. And what was really amazing about this was I said, you got so much history behind you with so many, you broke the barriers of apartheid and segregation and everything that brought Black people to golf. And I said, you've got a story to tell. And he goes, I ain't going to write no book. I've had Sports Illustrated, Golf Digest, golf this. All they want is my money. Because you read my book, we'll split it 50-50. So it'll go to my retirement. So I wrote his book. I never wrote a book before. And we've been donating proceeds from this book to charity and to actually till he passed away. It was for his retirement. And I still support his family. And any sales from this book will go to his family, which I always send him a check whenever I can. And there's an opportunity for some things that are happening real soon, which I can't talk about because of an NCNDA, but it's going to be really cool. And I want you to look out for this very shortly in about a year. And
Probably be about 2.
Big actors. I mean, people
So
you might know might be in it.
it'll be something really to watch out.
So name 3 of the top golfers that most people would know that he was connected to in some way, shape, or form.
Ben Hogan.
Aye, that's a good one. Gary Player.
Gary Player. Arnold Palmer. Chichi Rodriguez.
I met Chichi Rodriguez.
That guy's amazing. He's still here. He's still alive.
He's still alive.
What a wonderful guy that guy is.
I used to do a charity in Tucson, Arizona. It started out as the Michael Landon Golf and Tennis Classic,
Mhm.
and I was invited to entertain and it was exciting to be an entertainer for a room full of entertainers, and I mean celebrities of all kinds were there. And
Well, one of the coolest stories in the book is his stories, not on the course with Gary Player, but with Frank Sinatra. When he was on his off season, he was caddying for Frank Sinatra. I'm not kidding. Sammy Davis Jr., One Eye.
yeah,
President Eisenhower, President Ford. He caddied for Bob Hope, all the Bob Hope classics, and he was his caddy for Bob Hope, and he had a golden chain with Bob Hope gave him a golden chain with on the bottom of it was a custom made solid gold golf bag.
wow.
And there's so many stories in this book, and it's
a great book. I've read it. I have a copy of it here. My brother just told me, he just posted in there. Let me go ahead and I can put that up there. The big house across the street from where my brother lives was built by Hubert Green, the pro golfer.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the Mayhem? Is that the house that was used by a couple of the like MTV or whatever? I think we had some stories about that. Anyway, I've got a copy of the book. I've got an extra copy of the book now. I'm not going to give it back to him. We might do something with it when we start having it. But I've already asked John. As all of you know, when we do, my brother said yes. So that house also was used by MTV for a lot of things. It's a gorgeous house.
Yeah.
When we do Old City Pirate Festival every year in February, first weekend in February, we have Authors Row, and we bring people in that have written books that either have something to do with pirates or history, especially local history. And because he was part of St. Augustine's history,
Yes.
John will be there in February. He's already agreed, and he'll have his book to autograph, and you'll be able to get one of these copies of this book. But I think we'll have John on the show sometime in September, October, and put him on the show and talk about all this. So
Yeah, let's do that. And if you want to get the book in the meantime, get a hold of Captain Mayhem here. I love him to death. I've been, like he said, I've been friends with him for 18 years, I think. As well.
yeah, at least that close to it.
He brought me into the pirate business, and I tell you what, I just love this guy to death. And I told him if I'm going to come up here with Marilyn, he's got to show a magic trick before the end of the show. So I'm putting you on the spot right now.
So,
He's going to make us disappear. That's what he's going to do is make us
at
disappear.
a certain time, at the end of the show, a pirate ship will appear on the show. That's a magic trick. So I want to make note of what Paula said. She works in a theater up in Jacksonville, and they have a show called Splish Splash, which is the music of Bobby Darin, and it's coming up. And he was friends with her grandfather and used to see him once in a while at her grandparents' house. So how bad of me to really get that messed up. James Darin, Bobby
Darin was Mac the Knife, right?
Yeah. Bobby Darin was Mac the Knife. So thank you very much for correcting me on that, Paul. I appreciate that very much. So be watching. We're going to talk about the show. Maybe in a couple of months, you'll have a little bit more information about the movie.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And that would be really nice to
We didn't say movie, did we?
What's that?
We didn't say movie.
We didn't say movie.
Yeah.
No.
But anyway, yes.
I'm talking about him moving in here and talking about the show.
We're moving over here to, yes.
Yes.
So
We're
that's just a little hint there, but yes, major motion picture.
If agreements have been made, maybe we'll hold off and we'll set the date for your show for when you have enough information to really entice everybody, and we get to be like one of the exclusive. Hey, guess what's happening? Kind of a thing. That makes it really good.
And then I can invade on your show and promote whatever
and
I'm
here's the
doing.
thing. So
That's right.
I promised Marilyn a part, which it's a periodic, obviously, film. It goes from the 30s all the way to the 80s, or actually 90s, and it'll be a great opportunity. And I did promise you when it happens.
So we'll see what happens. It's down the road, and it's a good possibility. And that's one of the things about the Captain's Quarters podcast. We like to bring in everybody we can, share our possibilities, share our limelight with everybody.
And it's a St. Augustine story.
And it is a St. Augustine story, and that's one of the better parts for sure, that it is a St. Augustine story. 459 years is coming up in September. You got to
Your
think
age?
that, yeah, my age too. You got to figure that a lot of people, hey, just sit right there because look at that. I can't tell which one is which. Yeah, a lot of things have happened in the oldest city in the nation, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this week in history is what we're going to do next, just because it's that time of the script. So, Davey, this week in history is sponsored by Dick's Wings. Can you bring that in for us? Dick's Wings, you want a good lunch special? They have lunch specials starting at $8.99. Can you believe it? They have foot-long hot dogs, 4 varieties, and they have some of the best burgers. All you have to do is ask Navigator Davy Longwood, because that's about all he eats. I think Davy Longwood is Wimpy from Popeye incarnated. Hi, bring it to us, Davy.
Welcome to This Week in History, sponsored by our good friends at Dick's Wings Bar and Grill. Wings, salads, wraps, quesadillas, and more. No matter what your taste buds crave, they've got you covered. We begin this week in history in the year 1305. William Wallace, who led Scottish resistance to England, is captured by the English near Glasgow and transported to London for trial and execution. 1428. Valais witch trial proceedings begin in Valais Canton, Switzerland. First organized witch trials. 1786. U.S. Congress unanimously chooses the dollar as the monetary unit for the United States of America. 1812. War of 1812. Tecumseh's Native American force ambushes Thomas Van Horn's 200 Americans at Brownstone Creek, causing them to flee and retreat. 1884. Cornerstone for Statue of Liberty laid on Bedloe's Island, New York City. 1905. First meeting of the Russian and Japanese peace commissioners takes place in U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt's home at Oyster Bay, New York. 1924. Little Orphan Annie, comic strip by Harold Gray, is first published in the New York Daily News. 1926. Harry Houdini stays in a coffin underwater for 1.5 hours before escaping. 1939. First broadcast of the Diana Shore Show on NBC Radio. 1946. First U.S. commemorative coin of an African American, Booker T. Washington, $50. 1963. Jacqueline Kennedy becomes first U.S. First Lady to give birth, Patrick Kennedy, since Mrs. Cleveland. 1965. U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson signs the Voting Rights Act prohibiting voting discrimination against minorities. 2017. U.S. President Donald Trump declares opioid addiction a national emergency. And finally, in 2023, Barbie film passes $1 billion at the global box office. Its director, Greta Gerwig, is the first solo female filmmaker to do so. And that was This Week in History.
Good. Very good, Davey. Very good. That week in nautical history, regular history. I get them so mixed up. So, from the captain's desk, I have a small one, ad lib, that I want to just throw at you from the captain's desk, where we talk about ideas, thoughts, things that might be bothering me or anybody else. Ladies and gentlemen, I put a post about 4 or 5 days ago out on the internet on Facebook. As many of you know, I like to write, and I like to write things that I feel
Passionate about.
That's a good one. I was going to use enthusiastic, but passionate is probably better. So the thing I wrote about was that I'm really tired of politics already, and we're going to be inundated with it between now and November. But it's not just national politics; it's local politics. Look at this. I got a tree right here. This is all crap being sent to me by local politicians to get us to vote for them. Here's a thought. When I pull out one of these out of my mailbox and everything about it has your name on it, but it's not talking about what you're going to do for the community, it's talking about bad mouthing the other guy that's running for the same office, I don't care. I don't even listen to it. I don't read it. I don't want to hear it. I want it to go away. You're not solving the problem by telling us how bad the other people are. If you don't like what they're doing, convince us to vote for you by telling us what you will do to fix or change the problem. That's all I want to hear anymore. I truly don't want to hear anything else. I am smart enough to make my own decisions to decide on if that person is a crook or not. You don't have to tell me he's a crook. And I say this all the way up to the presidential. They are terrible at it. I do not care. I know how bad the candidates are. I've seen it. I'm smart enough to understand it. I'm also smart enough to have experienced it. And in our time frame right now, we are experiencing some of the worst financial crap any of us have had to deal with. So tell me what you want. Why waste your money on all of this? This is because it's going in the garbage. Actually, for me, it's fire starter for my fire pit in the backyard. I don't care. It is not the way things are supposed to be, or it shouldn't be. Tell me what you can do. Tell me how you're going to fix things. Tell me how you'll be a better candidate than the other one without telling me how bad the other one is. I already know how bad the other one might be. And if you can pique my interest, then I'll check. I'll look. I'll vote. I've also locally put the word out nonchalantly. I haven't been outward of it, but I'm going to be outward right now. County commissioners in St. Johns County, there are a couple of them that are not putting attack ads out. There are some others that are putting attack ads out. It's disgusting. But I put the word out on my Facebook page, hoping that some of them would see it, that I wouldn't mind having a personal conversation with you. I would mind putting you on my own podcast, although we don't want to make things political. But if you're going to be positive political, as long as Davey and Mandy agree with me, we might let you sit here and talk, as long as it's a positive direction. I'm tired of negative politics. I don't like it. I know people are going to come on and say, well, that's the way it is. It might be the way it is, but it's not the way it should be. We need to move in a positive direction. Quit sending me all this crap. I've thrown away another stack just as big as this. I have enough to build a tree. We're wasting resources with crap.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just the words of Tom Petty. You know, sometimes I don't know why this whole town just seems so hopeless. Just seems like the little things could be all over and focused. And then she looks me in the eye and she says, "We're gonna last forever, baby. I know I can't begin to doubt it."
Oh my goodness.
Just feels so good and so free. We know we're never gonna change our minds about it.
It's that peanut butter rum. No, I wanted to interject something.
Go ahead.
Do you know how to tell?
A different verse.
Do you know how to tell if a politician's lying?
Their lips are moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's my point. They all lie. Just
I was trying to
the
change that
worst
a little
of the
bit.
evils.
But yeah, the peanut butter whiskey got me. Thank you very much. But to tell you what, he's exactly right. And you know what? We gotta think smart.
We've had one politician locally on my show at least 3 times in the last 2 years. And that's the sheriff of the county right now. I have seen ugly, ugly stuff. I'm not going to say if I support Sheriff Hardwick or not, but most of you probably could figure it out. So tell me what you want to do. Come talk to me. I have the venue for people that want to promote themselves into the world. And the more we do, the more we go, the bigger we get. On another note, one quick thing, ladies and gentlemen, we try to post Captain's Quarters podcast on Facebook pages all over Facebook. We are not just a pirate history Facebook or podcast. We are a multiple variety, try to do all kinds of favorite things for everybody. We do jokes, we do history, we talk about people that have passed away, nautical history, and guests that have nothing to do with pirates. Because we try to make this a show that will hopefully appeal to everybody. If we post on your Facebook page and you don't like it, just let me know. We'll stop doing it. Don't make ugly posts about it. Just send me a nice, polite, professional message. Hey, we prefer you not to do that anymore. I'm all for it.
But who couldn't like you?
I
I
was going to say one more thing, but I'm going to keep it at that.
I want
and
to say
go
one
with
more
that.
thing too.
Go ahead.
And I just want to, I've known Captain for so many years, and we had some really, really super great friends, and I just wanted to give a blessing and a prayer for Sandra, Sylvia, and Jason, who were just so special friends, and I just love them so much, and we miss them.
That's when we did they were part of our 8 Bells when they passed away a year ago, a little over a year ago.
I wasn't here for that,
so
and I just wanted to give my respect
So
to everybody.
that's my across the desk from the captain. Politics should be professional. Let's keep it that. On that note, Davey or Mandy, do we have a guest video?
Yes.
Let's see what we got. I'm going to add one more to it, but we'll add it for sure to the video next week on September 2nd, which is Labor Day weekend. That is 6 days before the birthday of St. Augustine, which will be 459 years old. My good friends Chad Light and John Stavely, both probably the most respected historians and friends I have here in St. Augustine, will be joining me for the show that night. We'll be talking about the beginning and the history of St. Augustine. We'll probably be doing it at the table as we did for the magicians that came in a couple of months back. So look forward to that show September 2nd. The history of St. Augustine.
And I'm a big fan of Chad Light. I love that guy to death. I haven't seen him in many, many years. So you got to check this out with Chad Light. This guy's amazing.
How about the joke of the week, Davey? Let's have the reveal. I'm pretty sure I know what the Buccaneers are, but let's go ahead with it.
And the magic trick.
There'll be no magic on screen.
Okay, it's time for the answer to the joke of the week. What is a buccaneer? The answer is a high price to pay for corn.
That's
Are you
corny.
serious?
That's corny.
That's corny. That's pretty corny. But I have the ears for it. Davey, why don't you put our thank you video up there real quick? Thank you. The Captain's Quarters podcast is indeed a ship sailing the seas of the world, always in search of history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a ship, so we take this opportunity to thank those who help keep this ship afloat.
The cast and crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davy Longwood, Gunner Hellfire Henley, Cartographer Mandy Joe, the Powder Monkey, and Juan Cam.
Helping others gives a crew purpose. Our treasured charities that we support: Inc., investing in kids; the Humane Society of St. Johns County; Alia's Acres, a no-kill animal rescue zone; and the cadets of the St. Johns County Fire Department. The 4 major charities that we support, but there's always room for more.
You too can be part of the crew and support the show in many ways. Go to Patreon, a small monthly contribution as Powder Monkey or First Mate memberships, or a single contribution. PayPal or Venmo. Go to YouTube, hit the like and follow buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Very good. And our platforms. So you can watch us every Monday night live at 8 o'clock on YouTube. Once the show cans, it goes to Spotify and Instagram. You can also listen to us on Stitcher, iHeart, Castbox, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. We may be expanding that here in the near future. We'll see what happens. Our numbers, are they good, Davey?
I believe so. Mandy says yes.
Says so. Very good, Davey. Thank you very much. And as always, put our email across the screen, because if anybody wants to know how to get in touch with us, we have it right there. I'll throw this out here. There's a big reason why I'm not going to do a magic trick on screen. Some of you, most of my local closest friends, know that I've been having some health issues with my neck and my shoulder and my arm. My right hand does not do anything right now. I cannot accomplish magic tricks with my right hand. Now you know where the rum is always gone. The rum is always gone because I need it for the pain. Thank you very much, Davey Longwood.
I drank most of it tonight.
My hand doesn't do certain things right now, and I'm going for treatments, and it's coming back. We'll see what happens.
That's his right hand.
It's very difficult for me to admit that, and it's very demoralizing to not be able to do magic as I've done for the last 50 years. But that's life. We get older. Now, on that note, it is time for us to say goodnight. We've done an hour and 40-minute show. As I've always said, if it's just me, we'll be done in less than an hour. But with guests, it's always well worth it.
Thank you so much for having me. And you know what? I need some rum now.
But I do have one thing to close the show with. We always do like to do this too. We always give all of our guests our Captain's Quarters podcast coin.
Oh, yay.
And you get one of those. There you go. One for you. And John, you were here too, so you get one too. The best part about those coins now, ladies and gentlemen, if you own one of those coins, you can go to Dick's Wings and turn it in for a drink of any quality you like.
That's where we're going. For the rum.
I might chip that.
They'll keep the chip, and I'll give you another one.
All right.
There you go. In fact, I'll tell you what, if you're going there to have something.
Yeah, give us more.
Here, I'll give you each one more so you can use it. There you go.
They'll come back to you, but we love you, man.
We're trying to make sure that Dick's Wings will also honor the Swashbucklers coins. We're working on that one too, and I'll be down there to take care of it. If you have any questions, any suggestions, any advice, there's our email. Upon that, Davey, have we done a good show?
I think so.
What do you think, Mandy Joe?
I like her. She's fun.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the show was good. Hey,
You've got good taste, obviously.
as I always say, just me, the show's boring. But
You're
we
kind
gotta
of
have
cute.
guests.
Are you married?
Yeah, she's married.
Damn.
Yeah.
The good ones are always gone.
Yeah.
I hang out with her, but God, she's
I wouldn't let
too
you hang out
blonde.
with her
Way
either.
too blonde.
On that note, Davey, how do we sign off?
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always. We can't do it without you. We could, but it wouldn't be much of a show. We need all of you to be a part of the show. We thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you next week at 8 p.m. on Monday night. Thank you all very much. Cheers and a big eye.
Aloha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome. We were really honored to be here.
Boop, boop, be doop.
Down of history's embrace.